Welcome, Dr. James Beckett, Sports Card Insights, melancholy episode. It'll be released Tuesday morning. I'm doing this on Monday. Just found out that one of my favorite players, enjoyed him as an announcer too, but Bill Walton has passed away from cancer. This not exactly a where were you when you heard the news moment, although I wasn't shocked. He did appear to be in bad health, such athletic heights, but he's had some physical struggles. But one of my favorite players to watch. He would have liked playing with me if I had been a lot taller and if I could shoot a lot better, because I loved moving without the ball, and he really appreciated that. The offense, certainly in Portland, revolved around him, and if you would get open, he would find you. A lot of cutting backdoor stuff to the basket. I think luck is overrated. I think he had a choice when he was going to college, was highly touted, and chose UCLA. To be coached by John Wooden, the legendary coach. I think we forget that John had many years of being a really good coach and then won some championships in the early 60s. But most people think Kareem, Lou Alcindor, put him on the map, but he was already an outstanding coach before that. But that was the first offense, I think, that he had that was big man dominant. So it's a blessing and a curse for Bill Walton to come after Kareem. I think that's an important part of it, though, because he saw how Coach Wooden helped shape Kareem's career and show him the best advantage, because he's one of the greatest of all time as well. But you're the guy that comes after the guy that up to that point was the greatest, and he was as good in college, seemingly. Probably he was a better passer. He was an excellent shooter, an excellent rebounder, a lot of blocks. But anyway, he chose to go to UCLA, even though they had a run under Kareem and they'd won before. He trusted his professional future to Coach Wooden. And Coach Wooden, I think, became a little bit of a father figure for him. But certainly the standard was there. When he was recruited to UCLA, it wasn't so they could be in the top 20. It was so they could win national championships, and they did that 2 out of the 3 years. So they couldn't dunk in those days. Finesse and touch was a lot more important. He had that famous finals game where he was, I think, 21 out of 22 with no dunks. Nowadays, when somebody's 21 out of 22. Daniel Gafford had a long streak, almost catching up with Wilt, of consecutive field goals made. More than half of them seemed like they were dunks. But in Walton's era, he could drop it in the basket, but he couldn't jam it through. It was almost like offensive interference with your own thing. You were not supposed to do that. Again, it's not luck, and I don't believe in coincidences, but I'm at the game last night, because I'm doing this Monday, but Sunday night I was at the Mavericks game, and I'm watching with 3 guys that I invited to come with me, 2 very close friends, and then the son of one of them. For whatever reason, and maybe it was because of Kyle Anderson and maybe Reggie Miller, there was some discussion of UCLA, and I mentioned to my buddies that UCLA was my favorite team when I was in college. So Joe, my very close friend, says, I played against Bill Walton in college when he played at SMU. So they went out to LA and Pauley Pavilion. They played against him and got beat, as everybody got beat, but he had that recollection. And then Robin, my other really close friend that was there, he just was mentioning that he'd been a basketball agent, an NBA agent, and that how he and I met about 20 years ago was at a Jason Kidd event that was at our building, where he came over because he was affiliated with. And then he repeated the story, how when we were talking about UCLA, and he mentioned the Bill Walton story of how he showed up with a beard one fall, and Coach Wooden said, hey, that's really interesting, Bill, but my players, I can make my own decisions. He said, okay, you can, but you're not going to play for me unless you show up tomorrow clean shaven. So they did that. Anyway, that came out that we had no idea that he was. And then the third thing, I'm just here as a statistician, say things don't happen in threes. They happen in ones. If you look for a third thing, you'll find it. So the third thing was that Joey, my trainer, is from Boston. And so today I said, that's really melancholy. I really enjoyed watching Bill Walton play. And I really was remembering mostly the UCLA years and the Trailblazers years. But Joey, being younger than me and being from Boston, he says, the Celtics years were amazing, where he was the 6th man. He came in, he really got a new lease on life. But when you look at Bill Walton's career, you'd see he had a hard time playing 2 years in a row. He had so many foot injuries, and you're banging. It was a rough NBA still. Not that it's gotten rougher. It's still rough. I was there when Derek Lively got, I hope it's not a concussion. I don't know if I hope what it is. I hope he's okay, but he had a neck sprain. Looks like he just got really hurt. Shaq was talking on the show with Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith and Ernie Johnson about the difference between playing hurt and playing injured. everybody plays hurt because it's just a long season. But if you're injured, I think you have a diagnosis and there's some danger of making it worse. And so I don't want Derek Lively to come back if it's going to jeopardize his future health, but I'm hoping he'll make a speedy recovery because the Mavs need him. That's just an aside. Okay. At any rate, the last time I saw Bill Walton, I didn't really know him, but I'd been around him some. He just was shrinking. He was from 6'11", almost 7 feet to, it looked like he was about something like that. Really smart guy, probably not my same politics, but a smart guy. As far as cards go, his rookie card year is 74-75 tops. The sports card insight that I want to have about that is it's not that's a bad year. It's just that if you look through from 1969-70, the original Tall Boys, up through 81-82, when Topps did the regional distribution with a base set and the 3-panel things they did in 80-81, they were experimenting. And if you look at it, and again, I was there, it just seems the Tall Boys did that for a while. Then they did these other sets that were ABA integrated in with the NBA, and there's some good stuff in there. 74-75, still pretty good. 75-76. After that, so most of Bill Walton's second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth year cards are just not tough. Topps had basketball to themselves. It's the reason why they dropped basketball after 81-82, and then Star Company came in after a year hiatus and was able to get in. Topps, I don't know that they mismanaged it, but they were just experimenting. They tried those extra big postcard sizes, the 3-panel things. We think that's cool because it's now Bird and Magic and Dr. J. But that was a loser when it came out. It was remaindered. It was not a popular set. And then the next set was messed up too. Enough that Topps either wasn't making money or just thought we're not going to keep doing basketball. Hence, Star comes in, exit Star 3 years later, and then Fleer comes in, and even Fleer doesn't. So basketball was not ripe in the 70s. That's pre-Magic, pre-Bird, pre-Jordan. Bill Walton's in the top 75 players of all time. The question is, what would he be if he'd been healthy all those years? If he'd had 10 straight, 12 straight, really good years of playing, not necessarily 82 games, but say 72 games a year instead of being out whole seasons. Basketball is not football. You just go for the quarterbacks. Baseball, you know to go for the sluggers, the dramatic hitters. In basketball, you're really looking for an all-around GOAT. Somebody has potential to be dominant. In basketball, where is the offense centering around? Not just in the center position, but what's the focal point of the offense? With Luka, it's obvious that it's Luka, except he takes a play off every once in a while and gives it to Kyrie. With OKC, you've got Shea. With the T-Wolves, you've got Ant-Man. These are guys who dominate with the ball and are exciting to watch. They have some personality. And they're the MVP, at least of their team and potentially of the league. So Bill Walton was an MVP of the league and did have the offense flowing through him. So I think he's one of the all-time greats. One of my favorite paintings, if you ever come over here, I've got a painting of, it's probably from a photo, but you can see that it's a painting, but it's prime Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as a Buck against Bill Walton on the Blazers. It's showing them waist up, guarding each other, which I thought was cool because they were my two favorite college centers, maybe college favorite players. They were great. The other thing we have in common, and Pepper Hastings that worked for our team for a long time, it caught me on this, is that I shared with Bill Walton an enjoyment of the Grateful Dead. Bill Walton went to a lot of the concerts and knew Jerry Garcia very personally and all those guys. I didn't do that, but I did have some CDs that I would throw in the mix when I was doing my price guide stuff. I was always listening to music, and it'd be rotational. So one of the times American Beauty was on the turnstile or the CD disc player, and Pepper came in and caught me. 'Cause in the early days, I didn't do headphones. I could just turn up the sound because nobody was there. It'd be after hours, but either Pepper came back in or something in the evening, forgot something, and he heard me, and I wasn't embarrassed. It's just that he never forgot that. So that's something I shared with Bill Walton. His hand-signed autographs, aftermarket autographs, there's no more of those, obviously, unless Panini or Topps or somebody has some backstock of stickers they could apply. But I hope not, because he's passed now, and what's done is done. But it shouldn't affect as much his certified autographs that are, in many cases, numbered anyway. But there's no more to come. That's the danger of autograph collecting. When you collect a young guy, he's got many more years. Bill Walton, 71 years old, so he had a lot of years to sign, personally sign, as well as to do deals. Finally, I'm doing my card wall, and I've done some videos about that. Oh, first of all, thanks, sponsors. This is an impromptu episode that I'm going to drop tomorrow morning, which is Tuesday, which I wasn't expecting to do, but it's Bill Walton. If anybody's worthy of a tribute, it's Bill Walton for being a great player and a hobby icon as well. But Panini, Upper Deck, and Topps, Heritage Auctions, Hugs and Scott Auctions, Mike Stadium Sports Cards, Burbank Sports Cards, ComC.com, and Beckett Media, Beckett Grading, Beckett Authentication. I've done these videos about my wall. Bill Walton absolutely is on the wall, and I don't mean this as a teaser, but it's pending. I'm only up to the M's. When I get to the W's, he's on there now, and he'll still be on there, but which card, I may bump something out. What I'd love to have, which I don't think I have, is an autographed rookie card. If it's personally autographed, it doesn't have to be to Jim, but an autographed rookie card would be ideal. But I may have some other interesting card. My wall is not just all rookie cards. It's just interesting cards showing a little bit of the history of the hobby and the great players from every sport. And Bill Walton, when I'm only doing a subset of basketball Hall of Famers, a subset of baseball Hall of Famers, a subset of football Hall of Famers, and throwing in hockey and racing and wrestling and all that stuff, Bill Walton is absolutely going to be on there. So you'll have to wait until I get to the W's, which might mean later this year. I don't even know. It's taken a little bit because I got a lot of cards I want to show you. So thanks, everybody. Sad day to lose a great star. Condolences to his family and friends and fans too. And thanks again. I'll be back again in the morning with another episode.